So guys, some stuff that you might have missed that are kind of smaller, right? Kind of not getting a lot of attention in the dev server, and it was tested in the dev server, right? That I really wanted to show to you guys. So, of course, the dev server is closed. I'm combining some footage that I had with some other things. But yeah, let's get into it. Let's talk a little bit about a lot of things that actually got added that didn't make the headlines, I would say, right? So the first one is that the Z10 EME, right? The Z10 that it's receiving the CM502, right? And also the MI28, the MI28 over here, see? They are both going to 12.3 in BR. So they were 12.0, and in the last dev server, they actually updated to be 12.3, okay? So top tier, I mean, it was already kind of top tier, but yeah, now for you to use the new weapons, you're gonna have to, have a higher BR. It makes sense, right? But yeah. And just like the British GR4 Tornado over here, the Italian Tornado, I already mentioned this, but I really wanted to, say it again. The modernized Tornado is also getting that. So basically, it will be a pod that you can take. And you will basically create the MAWS, right? The missile approach warning system. So if you do use it, as you can see, it's the red one. If you do use it, it will create a field of sensors, basically, pretty much just detecting any type of missile coming up. So yeah, and of course you take more countermeasures, a lot less than the other one, but I mean, you have them all, so you're gonna probably need, less of them anyway, right? But yeah. The Israelis also got some additions, like the Kafir C10 got the addition of the Spice 1000, as you see right there. And the F-15I also got the addition of the Spice 2000, right? So new bombs that were already in the game, but in other vehicles, right? Being added for these two very good vehicles. The Mirage 4000 received a buff that nobody was talking too much about, but yeah, basically the pod that you can take over here, they have more chaff now. So as you can see, right? So you will be able to take a little bit more countermeasures, which is always a good thing, of course. The more countermeasures, the better. So yeah. The F-104s indeed got, again, that change that they were adding and removing and adding and removing. So it is here again. So the cannon now has a 4,000 rounds per minute fire rate. Before it was 6,000. And it has now a 725 rounds as an ammo count. So a little bit less than what it was. I think it was 750, right? And now with less, rounds per minute as well. 1/3 basically less, which is, it's a lot. But if you actually see, I mean, although it is firing less, you can kind of feel like it is firing less. It is still a lot of fire rate, and it's plenty. The Mitsubishi F2 is receiving more fuel tanks, as you see, under the fuselage there and stuff, and the wings, and I think it's under the fuselage, right? These are the ones that are getting it, but doesn't matter. So new drop tanks for the Mitsubishi F2. Not that you're gonna need, because these are, 600 gallons, man. This is like an insanely big fuel tank, right? So you're probably never gonna need it, but still it is cool to have it. Another one that got changed is the Su-30SM. Now it has only 150 rounds on its gun instead of the 180 that it had before, right? So a little bit of a nerf for the Su-30's cannon. So we got some changes to the Eurofighters MFD systems, and basically the cockpit over here. I mentioned this yesterday, but now we can actually know what it kind of is. So basically, we will have some things. Like, for example, in the cockpit over here, you will have a data link showing where the missile is for you to know. So as you can see right there, you can see the missile there, the little triangle, yellow triangle there that it has a 1 on it. That is the missile data link. So it's basically telling you where the missile is, which is pretty cool, I gotta say, to have such an interesting system on the game, like in an MFD, right? Also, the radar scan area and azimuth is being showed now. So you can see the azimuth right there on top of the screen there. And then the scan area as well. It's just working better, as you see. See, right? Very, very cool. So, yeah, very, 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 very cool, I gotta say. And other things like, for example, the no escape zone was added for the HUD. So we're gonna test it out how this works. We're gonna just turn around, try to detect targets that are a little bit to the other side over here. So basically improvements inside the cockpit, which makes this thing a lot more realistic, I gotta say, right? Let's see, where is the no escape zone? I would say that it is that little thing right there, right? I don't know if you can see it, but there is like a little notch on the range thing there, right? So you can see that it is actually showing the same as the radar on the right side, right? So it is pretty interesting. Another thing is, of course, that in the actual like HMD, I'm not gonna be able to show this, but in the actual HMD over here, it is they added a thing that basically tells you what is a friendly or an enemy with the HMD, right? So here you can have that it's an enemy, but if it's a friendly, it will show another icon, basically, right? So it is pretty interesting, I gotta say. This type of thing is small, but very welcome, right? Another thing, guys, is for the Su-34 and the Su-39, right? They have that weird low visibility system that the Russian had on these aircraft, which is not a thermal, but it's not a normal NVD in real life as well. It's kind of in between, more or less. It's not really, but it's just different, okay? And in the game here, it basically became a little bit better. Honestly, I gotta be honest with you guys, I didn't see too much of a difference. I gotta really check it out on the live server, but I think it's really similar. But they say it became a little bit better, right? So this system will be able to see a lot more. And I mean, look at the difference. Yeah, you can see a lot more with this thing. It is still very... Oh, better. It's very hard still to actually properly see where the targets are, you know? So you will see that, for example, here, these fuel tanks, but yeah, see, I mean, I cannot properly see where the targets are, you know? I just need to kinda look. It's not really a thermal system, right? So you never properly see like heat or IR signature. So it's a little bit harder to actually identify targets, but still it is a little bit clearer than it was before. Another thing is for electronic scanner array radars. I talked about this before, but now they officially just confirmed that it is for all electronic scanner arrays. So literally every single one, so the Kafir one, the Su-30, the Rafale, every single electronic scanner array radar, if it's a PESA or an ESA, will have the stabilization of the radar, see? So for example, if I just roll, it will maintain where it's looking, as you can see. It will not roll with the aircraft. So it doesn't matter what the radar is, if it's electronic scanner array, it will have this feature. But they also added this for other vehicles. So for example, the MiG-29s and the Tornadoes, they got 120 degrees of destabilization. So for example, here, it can turn up to 120s of roll, and then the radar starts to turn as well. The Tornado will be the same. Of course, the Eurofighter also got the 180 version, right? And some other vehicles got the 120 as well. But yeah, they added for the MiG and for the Tornadoes 120, which helps these radars to be a little bit easier to use, actually, right? A little thing that I need to show to you guys is that in the X-ray of the F-117 Nighthawk, you will see a decrease in thrust, but don't expect any differences on the actual performance of the vehicle. It's just a stat card thing, you know, an X-ray thing. It's not really a proper like nerf of the power, okay? They say it's just a bug that was happening with the model, okay? Nothing with the engine itself. Multiple vehicles got this buff, which is a buff. The A-10s, the A-7s, the F-105s, the F-105, right? The Apaches, the Mi-28s, the Su-25 and 39, And also, the F-15s, they all got these buffs. So if you go to the X-ray over here, you'll see that it has self-sealing, filling with polyurethane? Poliuretano. I'm just going to say in Portuguese, it's a much easier language. I'm kidding, but it's not. But anyway, you know, it's, yeah. It's difficult to say that in English. Polyurethane? That's something like that. Oh, anyway, all of these vehicles will receive that in the tanks, which basically means less likely of a fire, right? Basically, where it basically will fuel the gas tanks where there is no liquid with a certain gas that it's inert, right? So it's less likely to just catch on fire, okay? That's kind of what it is. So, yeah, very cool. It helps these aircraft to be a little bit more survivable. I'm not gonna show this right now, but they did add the spawn point difference change, you know, so basically now the cost of a spawn point, especially for a second spawn point, will be 100% based on the loadout of the vehicle and not on the vehicle type, right? So if it is a fighter like this, and it uses, and you can use some TV guided stuff like this, for example, or laser guided. This is the IR guided, right? It will have a certain cost, right? If you die with this vehicle and you want to spawn in a different class of vehicle, like an A10, it's not gonna be as cheap as before if you use the TV guided or the IR guided in this case, right? But if you do use other things, you can spawn in with less price. So it makes more sense. It is just a little bit more of a, it's kind of a nerf to cast, but at the same time, it is a little bit more balanced, right? So yeah. Of course, they also changed the nuke carrier. So the F-111F will be the nuke carrier for the US, the Israelis, and the Japanese. For the Chinese and the Russians, the nuke carrier will be the Su-24. And for the European nations, every single European nation, the other nations, will be a Tornado. It's the Asta one, actually, but it's not this one, but just for you to take a look, okay? So, yeah, 11.3 onwards in BR will have these nuke carriers, right? And the last thing, which I found it very interesting, I didn't know that they were going to add this, but now, any type of torpedo in an aircraft, you have another option over here. You can basically have the depth stroke of the torpedo, right? So you can choose between 1 and 4 meters. So if you choose 4 meters, for example, and you drop the torpedo, it will go a little bit below. What does that cause? Well, the thing that causes is pretty interesting. It makes the torpedo be a little bit more invisible for the ship. But of course, if it's a smaller ship, you're gonna miss because it will sail just underneath it. Right, so let me just show to you guys this with the Tu-14 over here. We're using the 4536 MAM, right? The MAN. Let's hope. Yeah, there you go. So, kind of aiming over here. And I dropped. And it will kind of go under. I don't know if this is to be like this. No, like, effect or anything. But it's not showing any effect. And this is kind of a big ship, like... it's the Bravi, right? So it's big enough that it will get killed, but if you fired on a smaller ship, you will probably go underneath, right? So you gotta be careful with that if you're playing ships. So hit it, right? Very, very, very below. Let's test it out with the 1 meter stroke. So here we have it with the 1 meter. Let's try it out to see if we see any differences. Let's get closer here. Let's see. And I think it's just bugged the little thing there. The actual like the image itself, right? Let's see if it hits on anything different. Yeah, much higher. It did more damage even. So interesting, right? So you can choose basically the depth of the torpedo with an aircraft. And basically these are it, guys. I know a lot of things, but these are just small things. There are plenty of others. If you want to see more of these, let me know in the comments. I can always find more stuff. But yeah, these are the main ones. I see you guys on the next one. Make sure to subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment, and yeah, The update, by the way, is coming very soon, guys. The version of the game on the dev is already like in the proper 0.49 version, right? So it means that the update is really close. So I see you guys on the next one. Make sure to subscribe, leave a like, leave a comment, and bye guys. See you.